Oman is quickly rising as one of the most sought-after destinations in the Middle East. Known for its rich culture, breathtaking landscapes, and its unmatched hospitality. Curious about all of the buzz, I decided to take a 3-day trip to Salalah. Famed for its lush greenery, pristine beaches, and unique charm that sets it apart from the rest of the region. From its stunning natural beauty to its vibrant local culture, I was eager to see what Oman had to offer. And these are my honest first impressions. So on our way to Salalah, right before we touched down, I was looking out the airplane window and I noticed that, of course, the terrain was mountainous. They had a lot of greenery there. And it was actually surprising because this is my first time in Oman. So I expected, just pretty much desert. I don't know why. So this is Salalah I'm talking about. So as we touched down and we entered the airport, it was a pretty small airport, but it was very, very clean. And it was welcoming. Like a lot of these staff there, it made me comfortable and it made the whole experience very, very, very smooth. So we made our way right to immigration. And it wasn't very far, it wasn't huge. And it was something about that was comforting. They weren't really interrogating you and all of that. They just asked you, okay, where are you gonna be staying and for how long? And I was trying to explain, the name and the area. He was just like, okay, it's fine. Welcome to Salalah. So as soon as we passed the immigration officer, there was another officer that just, checks and whatnot. And funny enough, I was extremely exhausted and tired. And I didn't give him salams, right? And I usually do. So I walk up to him and I just have a stank face. I'm just like, I'm tired, I'm frustrated. And I'm thinking, every time I go through immigration, usually there's something about it, whether my name, where you're staying, all of these questions. So I was visibly upset. And the guy was smiling and he was like, yo, what's wrong? Your name's Abdurrahman, welcome. Why didn't you give me salams? And I was confused for a good second. I'm just looking at him like, dang, you're right. So I started smiling, I started cheering up. And I was like, wow, that was very comforting. You know what I mean? And funny enough, it was a brother that was like of a darker, complexion. And that's what I did notice there as well. Just right when you enter the airport, you have a lot of Omanis of different shades, right? So it was welcoming. So our check-in time, we made this, we happened to make this mistake a lot. It's happened in Riyadh, it's happening in Qatar. But our check-in time for our Airbnb was like about 4 to 5 hours, right? From the time we arrived. So we were in the country officially, but we were so tired. We went to the cafe. They have a cafe. Like once you pass the immigration, there is a few things there, but it's not much. Like you're right next to the exit. So there's a few coffee shops you could sit in. So we sat down and we had to charge our phones. Otherwise, we couldn't even contact the person responsible for letting us into the Airbnb. So we had to sit down, we had to rest up, we had to charge our phones, and we end up sleeping on a chair. And I'm talking about, this is one of them big old school chairs that's just straight up and down. I'm talking about these king size looking joints. That's what they had in the cafe. That and the high top chairs. So we end up falling out. I'm talking about all of our belongings just, on the charging port, which is behind us in the dock, the charging dock. And our bags just scattered around and we had to eat something. I was falling asleep as I was eating. But mashallah, the waiters were very, very, very respectful. Very respectful. They did not kick us out. They just let it be. They understood we were guests and they just let us fall out. And I'm talking about the craziest. I'm across with the shoes on the little table. And it just looked ridiculous. So alhamdulillah, we finally got word from the person in charge of the Airbnb. And they said we can check in early. So I was surprised. I was like, okay, cool, let's get out of here. We were trying to figure out how to download a local app that deals with transportation, some type of Uber or Careem. But you can actually only get picked up from the airport taxi. As we walked out, the prices were there on the wall displayed. And there was a brother Funny enough, he looks like he resembles someone we knew for a while, right? And this brother took us straight to our Airbnb. So on our way to the Airbnb, I noticed that, of course, the roads were very, very clean, well maintained. It was a bit, or at least the ride from the airport, and of course, it's neither here nor there, but of course, there was nothing really out there but the natural landscape, which was actually pretty amazing, in my opinion. And you did have camels. That was funny. You did have camels walking by. Extra close. Yo, why they just chilling? I think I've at least seen that in Abu Dhabi. I remember, like, if you're going towards Al Ain or towards the airport, you'll see like some camels or herds of camels. Another thing was the weather. The weather wasn't as extreme as I thought, but at the same time, we didn't go in the peak of summer, right? We went towards fall or beginning of winter. But I did hear that the weather in Salalah is not like the weather in Muscat. It was a bit cool. It wasn't too hot. So once we arrived at our location, we didn't actually have change, and neither did the taxi driver. But he was cool about it because he drove somewhere else to, get change and whatnot. So we ended up paying him, and then we went to a receptionist, right? And he showed us our Airbnb. It was very nice, comfortable, fully furnished. It was really surpassed my expectations, to be honest. So I'm saying Airbnb, but it's more like a hotel. You have the receptionist there at the bottom, and, they show you the room, make sure you're comfortable. They come, throughout the day to see if you want some new towels or so on. So it's more like a hotel service, as opposed to just an Airbnb where it's self-check-in if you choose that, and so on. But me and my pops were extremely exhausted. So we fell out, got up all around Maghrib time. So mind you, we came in the country very, very early. So we missed majority of that day to actually, of course, sunlight, we wanted to see things. But we were tired. I'm talking about done. We fell out for a good, 4 or 5 hours, just completely out. And then we ended up waking up a little bit past Maghrib. So, of course, we got ourselves together, prayed and whatnot, and then we went out. And that's when we tried to, see a little bit about what the neighborhood had to offer. And mind you, we were in the city. So it wasn't a long walk to hit the main road and then to check out certain spots, cafes, restaurants, see what they got.
Inside the city now.
It wasn't much going on like that. I mean, I guess I would say the nightlife is not really, that vibrant. It's not buzzing like that. But in my opinion, I guess that's a good thing. But we walked around. They have like juice bars, shawarma places. They have restaurants, cafes. What I did notice, and as time went on as well, is that it's very conservative. You'll feel very comfortable walking around with your family. I mean, it's not wild. You don't see teenagers running around at night acting crazy or up to no good. You'll feel very comfortable. So the first thing we did, we hit a restaurant. So it was like a Mediterranean cuisine. They had shawarmas, they had, food, they had other, a variety. And that's another thing that I noticed is that their portions are huge. Like we ordered some basic, and this was a side. This was just an appetizer, and it had hummus, it had tahini, it had like all types of things. And I'm talking about this platter was going across, stretching across, salads, everything. And I'm like, no way, this is an appetizer. I was like, this is ridiculous. And then when the actual course came, which was the meals we ordered, it was like rice, lamb, and it was huge. I'm talking about, you could share with like at least 3 people. So that's one thing I didn't notice, but nothing negative at all. They were very kind. They were very polite. They encouraged us to try different things. They, asked questions, is this your first time or whatever. So it was very welcoming. MashaAllah, it was very welcoming. So alhamdulillah, we left the restaurant satisfied. We had a lot to take with us. And we decided to check around the area, go around, explore a little bit. A few hours passed and we're on our way home. Alhamdulillah, through our connections in Kuwait, we end up having a local Omani brother showing us around. So that was basically our first day. And we even got some local attire. As you can see, this is on Manitho. And then we also have the kufi, right? I'm pretty sure they don't call it a kufi, but you have it here. And the style is very unique, the way they do it. So stay tuned because we have a lot of content coming up on this wonderful country, Oman.
If you would like to support our productions and share in the reward, inshallah, go to fund.makehijrah.com.